What's new? This is Katy Needs a Podcast, the official Katy Needs a Life podcast. And it's still October, so we're still doing creepy themes. We're going to talk about folklore this week, probably more regional folklore. But before we do, let's all introduce ourselves. My name is Katy, and when we were on tour, I had like a test done, and I found out that I'm actually part mountain gem unicorn.
I'm Reggie. I am also the Loch Ness Monster.
My name's Jake, and I'm a spooky, scary skeleton.
My name's David, and I'm a vampire. Spoopy vampire.
I don't know if I hated that or loved it. But it made me feel, God damn it, and I needed it.
So, yeah, like, there's not like a ton of folklore in Michigan. If you all know or you think that I'm lying or something, please comment below and stuff. We want to hear back from you. But we did find some good stories this week, and we would love to share them with you. I'm just going to start with like a shorter tale, okay? When I was in Scotland, we went to the infamous lake known as Loch Ness, because they, instead of saying lake, they say loch.
Ah, did not know that.
When we were like going across the icy, frigid water, it's not icy, but it's like permanently like 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's really cold. But we didn't see Nessie. And the guy assured us that Nessie is usually around, but was actually visiting its Canadian cousin who shares one of the Great Lakes with us. Their cousin being Pressie.
I'm the Loch Ness Monster. You can call me Messy.
How would you feel if you were in one of the Great Lakes, an already intimidating, like, cold, deep lake, and then some major reptile just, like, traced along with its back along your foot or something?
Oh, my fucking God. I don't even like hearing that.
See, okay, if I was out there, I'd probably be dead already anyway, because I can't swim.
Yeah.
You got floaties.
I'd rather my dead body helps, like, give a lake monster sustenance than, like, I don't know, waste the energy to be cremated or, like, waste the fucking dirt to, like, put a giant fucking box in it. Just feed me to a lake monster when I die.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, like, at least you're contributing to the cause, I guess.
I will become part of a cryptid, and that's kind of just like something I've always wanted.
If that is a goal you aspire to, then look no further than Lake Superior, the deepest, coldest fresh lake, well, second biggest, in the world.
What's the first biggest?
Lake Baikal or something? Baikal.
Bagel.
Yeah.
Would you like a bagel? With some cream cheese?
Like bagel. Yeah, that's a good combination of
bagel.
words.
I can't imagine how cold that lake would be.
Like bagel.
Did any of you all find any other stories? I mean, I've got like so many I could tell you about Michigan.
I've got a few.
Oh, go ahead, David.
Oh, I got to start? Why don't you start?
I already started. That was what Pressie was. Do you not remember that story I just told? And then we found out what the deepest lake in the world was?
Yeah, that seemed to be what the story
Do we need to go over all of that again?
Lake Monster, Michigan, Lake Superior, cousin to Nessie from Scotland.
Okay, Dogman. Dogman is Michigan creature, I guess. It's... How do I explain it? So it seems like a lot of people use this example of, there's this Traverse City DJ named Steve Cook that wrote a song called The Legend in like sometime. When was that? I think it was in the 80s. Regardless, it mentioned the Dogman, and then he put it out there and everybody kept asking for it to be replayed, and people started calling in with like saying that these stories about the Dogman in Michigan went way back. back as far as the late 1800s. It's basically a big dog that's walks, just this giant dog. One person was driving home late at night over by Fort Custer, just outside Battle Creek. They saw this very large, mangy black dog crossing the street, and as they pulled up, it stood up on its hind legs, 7 feet tall, and then took a few steps before collapsing onto the ground and dragging itself commando style into the cornfield, which is a weird image when you couple that with that it screams like a human. And it's very spooky. There was another person that saw them in 1980 over by Kalamazoo River, between that and... Where did they see them?
Oh my God, we live in Kalamazoo. The Kalamazoo River is here.
Well, it was between Kalamazoo River and West Michigan Avenue. He was out looking for deer, and he saw 3 of them that took off into the woods.
Three deer or 3 dogmans?
3 dogmen.
Holy shit.
How do we know that they were all men?
True.
He said they made no sound, just grunting noises as they ran off into the woods.
Maybe they were just tall, ugly dudes.
Maybe they were
It's very
just
possible.
really big pugs.
Ooh.
I would be more afraid of a very large pug.
Yeah, that's a depiction of a werewolf that's never been done.
I was reading about another one recently. There's seems like I keep coming across examples of like DJs between the 30s and the 80s writing some joke folklore song and putting it out there, and then it becomes some big hit in their local community, and everybody like has a story about that thing all of a sudden.
Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did. It's not
That's
a
the
thing
template
anymore,
for
it seems, but... Right about the dog man. I mean, the guy that wrote it even was like, I made this up. I've never heard anything about that before. But so like the people that are spotting it near Fort Custer, there's this one woman who wanted to be called Nellie. She works for Fort Custer as like Fort Custer recreation area worker. And as she was driving home one night, she saw one of those large dogs in the road stand up on its hind legs and look at her with blue eyes and a boyish face, I guess, and St. Bernard ears before it ran off into the woods. But then she also said that when she was a kid, lizard people chased her and her mom into her trailer and stared at them through the windows. So...
I'm going to have such dope dreams tonight.
yeah.
There's actually a few videos, you can find them on YouTube, of the Dogman or whatever, and a lot of it I'm aware of are like more northern Michigan. There's this one video where it's like, I'm pretty sure it's like a fucking Wolverine or something, and you just pissed it off.
There was one of it running with like...
I think that's probably the one I'm thinking of. It's like kind of back there in the woods at first, and then like it starts running towards the camera or something.
Yeah, but like there's a long video before it of like people just doing shit, like driving around in cars and like
doing
blowing
wood
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, that's like
doing wood stuff.
the video I'm thinking of.
But it looked like somebody in just like a
Yeah,
floppy
that's the
bear
video.
suit or something, or like a floppy bear costume to me.
Just running on all fours. I'm gonna get you.
I remember the weird thing was how fast it ran. Like it was like sprinting like an animal would, and that was the weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that video is kind of weird to watch. But
Yeah.
like then again, I feel like just old videos in general, even if they're don't have like creepy overtones to it, like I feel like they're still kind of creepy in a way.
Okay, so like I went to a girl's birthday party and she had The Legend on CD and she begged her parents to play it. And mind you, we were like seniors in
I
high
thought
school.
it was just like people in the Traverse City community that knew about that, or
No, I mean, this was when I was living in Grand Rapids, but we were like seniors in high school and I thought it was a weird thing to play at a party.
yeah, a CD from a Traverse City local DJ that he made on his home recorder with a tiny Casio keyboard in 1980. Like, and that's just puts that on at a party. That's your casual listening.
Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't like casual listening. It was like everybody shut up and listen to this. It sucked. But like, have you all heard the song?
No.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's not even spooky. I read the thing that David was referencing about like the people seeing the thing crawling into the cornfield after like seeing it on its hind legs, and that sent shivers down my spine.
Yeah, it's a real spooky image to think of, like just a massive dog just standing up and then like looking at you and walking and then collapsing to the ground and dragging itself.
While screaming like a human. You doing okay, Jake?
I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Maybe it was just a really tall, hairy guy that broke his legs
Yeah.
and no one helped him.
Just walking on broken legs.
Guys, my ankle! I twisted it! Help!
Oh man, that dog's howling, but it sounds like a human. Weird. It's almost like it's saying things.
Oh man, that dog twisted its ankle.
Welcome to Michigan. Reggie, did you have one that you wanted to share?
Yeah, so there's a town up in the UP called Paulding. The UP is the Upper Peninsula for all you non-Michigan folks that may not know what the up is or what is up. So there are these lights. There's like a certain stretch of road, Robbins Pond Road, which is like a former routing of US 45. It runs north and south. Like US 45 runs from basically Lake Superior down to Mobile, Alabama. Mobile, I don't know. But so there's these lights that like you can see just like in the sky. They change colors and go away and come back. There was a lot of speculation. It was like it's the ghost of some railroad brakeman or like a ghost train, and that's what like that is. People also thought it was like, you know, swamp gas or like geologic activity or something.
I read one weirdly specific one that it was a grandparent out in the woods looking for a lost grandchild with a lantern that he needed to constantly relight. That was the specific quote, and it was like it was weirdly long.
Sad.
But like these sightings started like picking up like around, it was like around in the 1960s and stuff. If you think about it, the Federal Highway Act of 1956 like was just a few years before that, so they're building highways and shit. So fast forward to 2010, some Michigan Tech students actually went and investigated with a telescope. They just aimed a telescope in the direction of the lights. They were actually able to see and adopt a highway sign on top of being like, no, it's definitely just like headlights and lights from the highway, just light pollution and whatnot.
It's not aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just cars.
Literally just cars.
I remember like a paranormal investigation TV show went there. They were like, we can't disprove that it's whatever. They're like, we don't know what it is. It's an unsolved mystery or whatever. And then it like, it's just fucking cars.
Yeah, it actually says something about that in the Wikipedia page too. It was actually funny because the last week I was like listening to some podcasts and there was a couple episodes about that. And it was really funny because they were like, no, some Michigan Tech students actually like just had a telescope and figured it out. And they actually did the same, like some of them took a car and drove and they were able to recreate the lights. But science.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm so
it's
bummed.
not that spoopy. I'm sorry.
I like how that ended.
Me too.
All right. When I moved to Grand Rapids, we lived in Ada, and we had some woods behind our house, and there was like a little creek. And I remember when I was in high school, I decided I was just going to walk down to like see where the creek led. It started as just a really shallow creek, and then it became like these big sides. Like it was supposed to be a really deep creek, but it was like no water or anything. And then it just spilled out into the cemetery. And I didn't really understand what this cemetery was until a little bit later when I found out that it was the 2 Mile Cemetery where the infamous Ada Witch is from. The Ada Witch story is as follows. There was a woman and she was married and she had an affair, and her husband caught her with the guy she was having an affair with, and the two dueled, and she died in the crossfire, and then the two men killed each other in the fight. She was buried in the cemetery and now haunts the place, always looking for her lovers because they were buried elsewhere. Okay, so the Ada Witch story didn't really exist until the Blair Witch movie existed, and then there was an Ada Witch. And then, like, the grave that people chose for her is this woman named Sarah who legitimately actually died of typhoid fever. And so people go there and, like, leave sacraments and stuff thinking it's the Ada Witch, but it's just some poor lady.
Just goth kids in the middle of the night, like,
Yeah.
just like having lame seances with the Ada Witch.
Yeah.
I've been a part of those. They're not like, it's not a good thing.
I mean, okay, so there are like spooky stories about that cemetery even still, but I'll save those for next week when we do actual ghost stories. But that is a little bit of regional folklore from Grand Rapids. Yay! Thank you to the Blair Witch Project for existing and allowing this to in turn exist. Does anyone else have any other stories?
I have one on Snapjaw Small or the Ogre.
Snapjaw Small sounds like a regional wrestler in the 70s. Snapjaw Smalls.
I think of him as like the G.G. Allen of the UP. He was basically this, like, I don't know, local madman who would just take any dare and he would go around saying he will take any dare for whiskey money. He, like, would bite the head off of animals and, like, eat horse poop and stick his head in, like, latrines and stuff, and, like,
Then that nasty trickster would go pay his rent with the money.
yeah. He had at some point his nose had been torn off and then sewn back on crooked and weird. So that's part of the ogre moniker. Part of it was also biting the heads off of things, like birds and squirrels. Oh, but he claimed that guess what bit off his nose, according to him?
He did.
The Dogman. Ooh.
No
Full
way!
Yeah, that's about it. I don't know any more about him. He might have died at some point, I'm guessing.
Or he's still out there.
Or he's still out there. But the town he lived in was this. So, like, in the 1880s, Seney was this, like, just shithole town. It was a big lumber town, but it quickly became, like, this seedy mess of, like, taverns and, like, bars and gambling dens and, like, places of ill repute. And, yeah, it was just a wreck of a town. It, like, daily just mass, like, the funerals were always piling up, and good Wild West Northern Michigan UP town with men that would take horrific dares.
I'll
dares.
take
About
dares.
that. You can edit that together in some way.
I'm
you
not-
won't take all dares.
Not all dares. No, definitely
No,
not
there's a
biting the
lot of
head
dares.
off animals, eating horse
Eating
poop, anything involving poop, aside from picking up dog poop. You can dare me to pick up dog poop, I'll do it.
Like,
I mean,
without a bag?
as long as it, not fuck that shit. Literally.
That
Well,
sounds
maybe
like a
not
yes,
entirely
Reggie.
literally.
Without a bag, you will pick up poop.
You froze, so we're guessing.
No. How dry is this shit? How long has it been out there?
It's been
Like,
out
if it's
for a
still
second.
squish, if it's been out there for a minute and it's all like rock solid, like, if it's like
Okay.
still smushy and warm, like, no, I don't do poop. Well, I mean, I do, because, you know, I have a butthole. Yes. Okay.
Facts about Reggie. We should write a letter.
Or probably.
I'll do 2 more stories. This one's for you, Jake. It's not very scary. All right.
Nice.
So we're all familiar with the giant lumberjack Paul Bunyan, right? He had a big blue ox and a big axe. Yeah.
Big blue eyes.
He had big blue eyes.
He fucking hated trees.
He was not, I
Fucking
mean,
hated them. hated trees.
Single-handedly helped destroy our environment.
Paul Bunyan was up north doing his thing as a lumberjack, and he was camping in this area, and it was really cold. Winter had started, and it was like negative 60 degrees or something. And it was so cold that all of the flames on the candles that everybody was keeping to light up the inside of the place, they like froze. And then everybody got annoyed because the candles were too bright. So they put them outside, but they forgot to blow them out. And so the thaw came early that year.
Wait, you didn't say the flame froze, did you?
I did.
There's all sorts of problems with that. Like, how does that happen? And two, they forgot to blow them out. Like, how would you blow out a frozen flame?
So I reiterate, the flame froze, but it was too bright. And so the people who were camping out were like, it's too bright, I'm annoyed. So they put the candles outside. And then they forgot to do anything with them the next day. So the thaw came early and all the snow melted. It's a fact.
I was there. I saw it.
So that was a uplifting story for you, Jake. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah.
I loved it.
There's one about this town that has like a population of like 16 or some people in Michigan. And they have a bar, and I think there's a gas station there. But they also have a legend about a giant squirrel that just kind of, I don't know, frolics around. I don't think it does anything spooky, but it's apparently bigger than the biggest hill in this town, which is how they describe it.
Huh. That's too big for a squirrel.
No, yeah,
Yeah, they don't make nuts that big.
maybe their biggest hill is just like a mole mound or something, and it's just flat otherwise.
The hell does it eat? Trees?
It eats cats.
Like Alf.
I feel like they should have used a better descriptor for how big the squirrel is.
It just is Alf. It wears Hawaiian shirts. This big-ass squirrel running around eating cats.
It's like
wearing Hawaiian shirts.
it's like that giant turtle that we live on the back of.
Well,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
okay.
like a squirrel.
Have you ever
Instead of
seen
a turtle.
like a car?
No.
So like a truck.
Like a car.
A truck is like a car. Or a
You mean
van.
one of them horseless wagons?
Yeah, so it's like a lot smaller than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that was helpful.
Yes.
Maybe like
Smaller than
16
a car.
stones with 2 ends.
16.
Like
I
that
don't understand that
Bush
specific
album?
measurement.
I think that means it's like 120 pounds. But I don't really know. Okay. So
Comment below.
here's like my last one. Okay, I'm just really quick gonna throw a big shout out to you, whatever like the MLive article was. I actually probably shouldn't shout out because I don't know the name of it and I don't know the author, but there was an MLive article that talked about like top 10 folklore things in Michigan, and I gotta give a shout out.
Number one Google search result.
Yeah, Google it. You'll find it. But like they were going through all of these different folklore legends, and then I got to one that really stood out to me. And this, I'll tell you one more story that's actually like pretty gripping in a second. But they were like, and then there's this one who's the Detroit Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like he's a family man, and then he comes on stage and he's like a demonic rock star. And then it was trying to pitch Alice Cooper as folklore.
Yeah, they also pitched Ted Nugent, the wild man, in that one too, which I guess
Ted
he
Nugent
has
is the real
folklore?
Dogman.
Yeah, I know.
The truth comes out.
Yeah.
He's just been crossing streets on his hind legs for the past 50 years.
Okay, so this is my last one, my actual last one. This one stems from Detroit. It is known as the Nain Rouge, and it's French for red dwarf. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, and I'm not going to read all of this. I didn't read all of it for the research, so I'm not going to read all of it now. But it's like impish offspring of the stone god, if y'all get that. So anyway, they say the legend of this is that Marie Caroline, I'm going to read this off of Wikipedia. Marie Caroline Watson Hamlin's 1883 Legends of Les Détois described the Nain Rouge as a dwarf very red in the face with a bright glistening eye. Instead of burning, it froze. Instead of possessing depth, emitted a cold gleam like a reflection, like a polished surface. It's always grinning with like a display of sharp teeth and a really strange face. And they say that the Nain Rouge has shown up right before every major tragedy in Detroit, like it burning down or like the civil unrest. I think that that's pretty bold to blame it on folklore. But they say that even like smaller tragedies, it just shows up before bad things happen in Detroit.
Well, it's like what is it doing when it shows up? Like frolicking?
Partying, dude, probably.
Partying,
yeah.
It sounds like the leprechaun.
I'm
Okay.
like half imagining kind of one of those like it just dancing like those blow up inflatable car lot things. There's a tragedy coming.
Woo! Okay.
Woo.
What if you just like taped knives to the ends of that end of one of those things?
I'm guessing it would just immediately cut itself and then explode.
Yeah.
So they say that legend holds that the Nain Rouge's appearance would presage terrible events for the city. The creature is said to have appeared on July 30th, 1763, before the Battle of Bloody Run.
You.
Yeah. But
It sounds rough.
it was
That's
pretty rough.
unfortunate.
And there were lots of fatalities, and it was a awful thing. But supposedly the Nain Rouge danced among the corpses on the banks of the Detroit River after the battle, and the river turned red with blood for days after. According to the tale, all the misfortunes of Governor and General William Hull leading to the surrender of Detroit in the War of 1812 are blamed on the Nain Rouge.
Huh.
I should, now that you're done with the story, make a note that Nain Rouge was a shot in the dark. I feel like I've heard that combination of words before, and that's how it's pronounced, but hopefully that's it.
Well, here's... I don't know if I'll include that story, because even when I was like looking it up earlier, it was like, I don't know, because like some people attribute it as like this really old story that's like been referenced a million times before. But like, you know, I went to visit with my grandma today, and my uncle was there, and I asked him if he had any stories about this creature, and he was like, I didn't know it existed until I was in my 60s, and I found it in the newspaper, and now they have like a parade every year for it. But it like seriously wasn't something that was like part of the culture there, according to him. But you know, I probably won't include that story anyway.
It was a good story, I think.
I
It's
just
a good story.
Yeah.
It also seems like the nature of folklore to kind of half tell something that you're sure about, or tell something that you're kind of half sure about, and just spread it in that way.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. Oh, my grandpa had a story about,
Well,
that kind of
okay.
thing.
So I asked my uncle if he knew of any regional folklore, and he was like, not really. And then he's like, it's folklore though, so I could just make something up about myself. And then he like smiled for a really long time. And I thought about that, like how we could just make some shit up, but whatever. Like there's a dragon and it lives in Kalamazoo. Ooh.
Aquaman lives in Lake Michigan. But he's like not real Aquaman. He's like half shrimp or something.
It's just Jason Momoa in a beach house.
They do say that like with the number of lakes that we have here, that we do have mermen.
Yeah, I saw the mermen, but they're like children. It's like, I don't know. I was hoping for big burly mermen, but
There's also Bigfoot sightings here. I don't know if you all knew that.
Oh yeah.
I learned I've learned so much about our region, you know?
there's Bigfoot sightings everywhere, rural and woods. I feel like most states have them.
We got trees. We got Bigfoot. Yep.
That was a good one.
There's just people in camo walking around out there, just like big,
They're just tall hillbillies.
tall hillbillies. People are hairy.
Tall hillbillies in ghillie suits just hunting.
Hillbilly and ghillie suits is a really fun thing to say. It was really great sharing some Michigan folklore with y'all. We hope that you enjoyed our takes on it, and thanks for tuning in. We're going to let you go, but before we do, we're going to give you a little bit of unsolicited advice because that's like how we end our show and stuff. So, like, if you were trying to give someone advice based on the regional folklore and you said it like a spooky old person, what advice would you give?
There's bodies in them trees.
Don't be a dog man.
Stay away from whiskey.
Be pleasant, stay calm, and always do the right thing.
And smash that subscribe.
Smash that subscribe! Ring that bell!
Smash that
Ding,
subscribe.
ding,
Smash the bell.
If you see red glowing lights
Punch
in the
that bell.
woods, don't go towards them.
It's cars. Look both ways. Damn it.
If you see a giant dog screaming and writhing on the side of the highway, it's cars.
Pet it.
All right, bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Hail Satan.
Bye.
Ring that scribe.